Hi everyone, we have a very special guest here today, flew in from Florida, Chris Johansen. I'm Karin Caro, and I'm here to introduce this wonderful man here today and tell you a little bit about what he does. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Really very, very nice to have you here. I've been on your show, Casper Paranormal, and so thank you for coming
great.
here.
And you know what? We enjoyed you, and I just watched that show not that long ago.
It was a while ago.
It was actually very interesting. It's on my YouTube site.
Yeah, I watched it.
no.
I watched it some time ago too, actually, but it was a while ago.
Yes,
and
it
today,
was.
though, we're here to talk about you.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, you called me early spring, I think it was, knowing, just to touch on a little bit of a personal background, knowing, actually, out of nowhere, really. I know you a long time, but you called me out of nowhere and said that I was going through some tragedy, and you wanted me to know that coming the end of June, it was going to be somewhat of a relief for me. I was really startled by that phone call. It was really emotional for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, but getting
It's
to
what
the
I
point,
do.
Getting to the point of what you do, you consider yourself a psychic medium.
That's correct.
And I have not entered that side with you. Psychic medium, can you tell us what that is? But on the psychic side, you also have visualized things with me that turned out to come to fruition and to be true. So I'd like to talk about those two things today.
I would love to. What a psychic medium is, let's break it down a little bit. A psychic. I do past, present, future. I'm not like one of those crystal ball people,
Right.
I don't do things like that. I'm just a regular guy that sits in front of people and tells them what he sees. How do I see it? I gotta be honest with you. I really don't have the answer how it's done.
Right.
Something I was born with, so I kind of... What happens when I was a kid, I used to do stuff like this. And like see things and stuff like that. Then it went away. Life gets in the way.
Right.
You get married and all this other craziness happens. And
Right.
you don't do it for a long time. And then it comes back and it was like, wow, this is crazy. And it's been so strong, so strong. Psychic is past, present, future, which means that I go back to when you were younger, till now, till like a year or two from now.
Right.
And it just seems to be that's what it is.
Right.
The mediumship part is people that come to me that have passed.
Right.
And they have messages.
Right.
I'm not saying they enter my body, by the way. I'm not
Right.
saying
You're
that.
not taking over.
Some people do say that, but I'm not one of them. I
Thank
don't do
God.
that. Right. I don't want anybody like entering
In
the
there.
body here. But what I do is I watch this little movie in my head.
Right.
And these people actually say things, and I tell them, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I know who this is. Name, places,
Wow.
talking about the inside of their house. They take me on a tour sometimes.
Wow.
And I say, I know where you live, and and you go upstairs and you go to the right, and that's your room right there. And like, how do I know that? I don't know
Right.
that. I've never met these people.
Right.
So that's the difference between the two in my book.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. Different psychics, different mediums have different terminology. I don't fall into the trap of, how do I want to say, your traditional psychic medium with the scarves on and the crystal ball in front of you and the candles and
Yeah.
I don't.
Now, do you have to have that person present in order to see
No,
things? Because I
actually-
wasn't present when you called me.
Right, that's a good question. My regular clients that I have, first of all, once you have a reading with me, you always have a reading with me.
Right.
Which not that I'm wonderful and you're always going to come back to me. It is that when you hire me to do a reading with you, you can always text me. You can always call me and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think
Right.
about that? I
That's
don't
true.
charge for that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's not something that I do. Because once we have a connection, you always have to have that connection. I
Right.
always feel that. Because I'm out there to help people. That's what I
Right.
want to do. Now, what was your question again? We went crazy here
We
for a
did go
minute.
crazy. I guess being present, having that person
Right.
in front of
I
you.
do phone, I do
Right.
Skype,
Skype.
I do FaceTime,
Okay.
and I do in person. I do readings all over the world, from Africa to Sweden to
Wow.
Saudi Arabia
Wow.
to everywhere.
Wow.
And it is so interesting to see other people's cultures.
Right.
And to, just as simple as to figure out when you're doing the credit card information, how you get the zip code of a place that doesn't have one.
Right.
Okay, so there are places that I've gotten that don't have zip codes.
Wow.
So it's very
Very
cool.
interesting.
The UK is actually a big person. They call me, I do readings in the UK quite often.
Wow. Now, what I think is interesting is if somebody came to you looking for maybe perhaps closure to the death of a loved one. Do you have any cases where that really crosses over into your psychic ability?
I'm going to tell you a story. And this is psychic-wise, if you want to say. I did a group reading in Palm Beach, all right? And this lady sat in front of me, as a bunch of people would now. Group reading for me is a whole bunch of people coming to me one at a time. I don't want to do a group reading because I say personal stuff.
Right.
I don't hold anything back, and
No.
if you don't like it, too bad, I can't help it.
Right.
So the person sat in front of me, everybody else was in the other room, and I told her that she is going to be taking a trip she does not want to take. I'll never forget this, I'll never forget this. And I said, you're going to be taking a trip you're not going to want to take, and I'm telling you, it's not going to be a fun trip.
Right.
And I want you to know that this guy Gary, he's going to be in your picture. If you don't know who he is now, you're going to know who he is. And so she walked away. She wrote me this letter. She goes, this guy's a freaking kook.
Wow.
I don't know any Gary. I'm not taking a trip anywhere. Well,
Right.
I got an email from this individual
Right.
stating, I just needed to tell you something. I did take a trip
Wow.
that I didn't want to take. Her son was dying. Okay? She took that trip to say goodbye to her son.
Wow.
What made her write this email to me, and
Wow.
you sort of get emotional with because the people that you connect with, is that a gentleman wrote her a letter and she just opened it. And that's why she emailed me. It was from somebody who got her son's eyes and stuff like that.
Wow.
Saying, thank you so much,
Wow.
signed Gary.
What a story.
It is, I have goosebumps
I have
right now.
goosebumps too.
Signed Gary.
Wow.
They met.
Wow.
And
remarkable.
It is. Look at that.
That's
See, you
beautiful.
can't-
Yeah, look at that. You can't make that. Wow.
And that's what I said. Because,
Right.
you know what? All these psychics out there, they're like, oh yeah, I know what I do, and it's not normal. It's just not normal to do. And I have no idea how it's done, but I am so blessed that I can do that.
Yeah, does it run in your family? Is it genetic?
It does.
And don't you think that people have, if you're in tune to it, I mean, there is some sort of psychic ability that we all possess, I
Correct.
believe, if you're open to it. I remember sitting in your house years ago.
That's right.
Years ago, and you told me very clearly, you have a horrible past. I started to cry. How would you know that?
That was probably the
I
first time I
wasn't
met you. I don't
public
know.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not public about it. I did not talk about it. And you said you had a very bad childhood.
Yeah.
And it's really hurtful to you. So very, very interesting how that. Are you ready to tell me something else?
No, not on the air. Probably not a good idea. And you know, one of the people that you're with, associate with, you know, you shake hands with somebody and it just happens.
It's remarkable.
You know, but everybody does have an ability to be psychic in a way,
Right.
intuitive and psychic.
Yeah, like when you're thinking of someone
You
and
know,
then they call again, and
or
that
when
happens so
you think the
much.
phone's going to ring and it does.
Right,
you
right.
know?
It's interesting.
I was just talking with somebody just not that long ago about that. Isn't that right? So I mean, I do that too.
Right.
I don't know if that's psychic. If it's, I don't know what it is. It's surely not my hair standing up when the static comes through on the phone.
Right.
But I love what I do. It does run in my family. I interviewed my dad and my mom.
Really?
I went down to Port St. Lucie. I interviewed my mom and my dad, and it's funny because my dad never really used the gift, but he had it.
Right.
And I didn't know for a long time that my father didn't have this thing, but I was also told by my parents, because my mother knew my dad when she was like 13 or 15. You know, they hung out. And,
Right.
they've been together forever. Oh my God. But anyway, my grandmother and some other relatives, which I won't mention, used to have meetings back before psychics were even popular, if you want to say, in each house all the time
Okay.
about psychic stuff.
Right.
People would come over, people would have readings. I'm like,
Wow.
where the hell were you people? Why aren't you telling me this before?
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this. My dad said, oh, you know what? My father used to work in construction. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know, there was a house over there. I would say to the person, oh, you know, in your top drawer in your bedroom, there's a ring.
Wow.
And the person went in there, and there it was.
He just felt this
Just
or
knew it. He knew
visualized
it.
it. Right,
You
right.
know, and it's
Amazing.
like, you know, you want to almost sort of hit him upside the head. Hey, Dad, you know, why didn't you share this with me? Because although it came from my father's side, my mother's the one that nurtured me
Right.
when it has to do with paranormal or psychic stuff, always walking through cemeteries before. I mean, really, who does that?
Right.
My
Sure.
mom and myself will be walking through cemeteries and look at the dates of the tombstones and stuff
Yeah, I
like
do that too. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but I was a kid,
Yeah.
when we were doing it, and it was like, I don't know if you know the Elbow Room out east.
No.
The Elbow Room is a great steak
Oh,
place.
yes, I
Right
do
next
know.
to the
Yes.
Elbow Room is a cemetery.
Right.
That's the cemetery that we'd walk through.
Wow.
And we would check out all
That
the
must
old
have been crazy for you.
tombstones. I loved it. I was like, oh my
When people were
God, this is great.
I see people everywhere, and your mom.
Look at that. There's Mr. Jones, But
Your mom freaked out.
no, my mother just kind of like knows that stuff. I mean,
Right.
I interviewed her as well. She's like, I did the Ouija board when I was a little kid.
Right.
My mother thought that was normal.
Right.
Um,
Well, if she was married to your dad and your dad had the talent and his mother
They
had
just
it
grew up
also,
with
then
it.
they sort of
They
yeah.
grew up with it.
She
I grew up with it, so it's
right.
kind of normal to me.
Right, right.
So,
Very
I didn't use it
interesting.
for a long time though, and I didn't. And I remember, and I'm going to say this on camera because I want to say this on camera.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time that I was on a cable TV show, and I said to the minister or pastor that I would not charge for readings. And I felt it was wrong because I really did. I mean, that was my heartfelt thing. I
Right.
felt if I did charge that my gift would go away. But what the hell do I
Right.
know? I mean,
Right.
So when it became so involved and I started doing more readings and more readings and more readings, I had to make a decision.
Sure.
Am I going to charge? Am I not going to?
Well,
So
how
I
would you
charged.
survive?
I charged a little fee.
Yes.
Right? I charged a
But
little
how
fee.
would you survive?
Then
You
more
can't-
people came.
Right.
I charged a little more. Then more people came. I'm like,
Right.
oh Lord, where do I tap this off at?
Right.
So I tapped it off, and I decided, okay, am I going to work a full-time job
Right.
and do psychic work,
Right.
or am I going to just do
Focus
my
on
psychic
this.
work?
Mhm.
And I chose the psychic.
Okay.
That's what I do full-time. I don't do anything else, and I absolutely love it.
Well, you do have a little nice life in Florida, a little
Yes, it
retirement,
is.
semi-retirement.
Beautiful saltwater pool, just saying. It's 85 there, by the way, just so you know.
It's nice. Well, we appreciate you coming again to Long
Thank
Island.
you.
I hope you enjoy your stay here. And how can people get in touch with you?
You can actually check out my website at CasperParanormalResearch.com, or you can call 631-838-2166. I'll answer it directly. I got a big phone over there,
Yeah,
and you can make an appointment with me anytime.
that's great. We'll put the number on the screen, and we'll be back chatting more with Chris Johansen from Casper Paranormal. Thank you so much.